important fact that we have to bring up at this point is that there's a mind between the environment and my cells. And when I say the mind, everyone thinks of a single entity, the mind. And I go, well, not actually true. For this reason, the mind is comprised of two interdependent elements that work together. And they have different functions, and they learn in different ways. It is our unawareness of that is creating the problem. Because when we talk about the mind, we think there's just one thing. I say, no, there are two minds with different perceptions and different beliefs and attitudes about life. And that's the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. The difference is profound. The conscious mind, the latest evolution of the brain, is the creative mind. I say, tell me what you want from your life. Creativity is the response of the conscious mind. That's the one that can see into the future. And so that's really what makes humans so much more powerful than lower organisms, because the creative conscious mind allows us not to have just stimulus response like lower animals. Between the stimulus and the response, I have creativity. I can change any way I respond to life. I am the master of that. So it's the creative mind that has helped us get into the world that we have today. And I say, well, what's the other mind? I say the subconscious mind. I say, that's a record playback mind. It's basically a habit mind. I learn a behavior, and once it's in there, I push the button, and every time I push the button, the behavior will play. If it's a good behavior or bad behavior, that's irrelevant. It will always play the same behavior. So when I look at the world, I could look at it through my conscious mind and employ wishes and desires to say, this is what I want for my life. Or, as most of us are doing it, and unknowingly so, when we look at the world, we're actually operating through the subconscious mind, the programs of how to interpret life and how to respond to life. And why is this relevant? And the answer is this. The programs in the subconscious mind primarily came from downloading other people's behaviors. Your mother, your father, your siblings, your community. In the first 7 years of life, you were downloading behavior by observing other people. And therefore, the fundamental behavioral responses in your subconscious mind are not your wishes and desires. They're actually just copies of other people's behavior. And the problem is then, if I'm operating from my conscious mind, I'm controlling my life in the way I want to do it. But when I'm operating from the subconscious mind, I'm in automatic behavior, but playing programs that I acquired from other people, which do not necessarily benefit me. And then the last important aspect is this. You might say, well, then why would I run from the subconscious mind? I could just use my conscious mind. I go, it's a very good idea, except for this problem. When we are thinking, the conscious mind gets engaged. Simple point. I say, tell me what you're doing Monday at 2 o'clock. If you actually contemplate that, think about it simply this. Where's the answer? It's not out here. It's in here. So the moment I ask myself, what am I doing on Monday at 2 o'clock? My consciousness is directed inwards, a little Rolodex. What's going on? I say, yeah, but the moment I'm thinking, then it means I'm not paying attention. I go, absolutely true. So does it mean when I'm thinking, I stop doing something until my thought's over? So I'm walking down the street, have a thought, stop, thought's finished, now I can go walking again? I go, no, this is the critical part. When the conscious mind is engaged in thinking, the subconscious is the default program, the autopilot. So my conscious mind can be engaged, but my subconscious mind will carry out whatever chore I'm doing, walking, driving the car, communicating with another person. I don't need my conscious mind for that. I already have programs of how to do all those things. So the point is this. When we are thinking, we are not using the conscious mind in controlling our lives, which is the potential personal control. When we are thinking, we default to subconscious programs. And I say, well, here's where the problem comes from. A, the programs that are playing from the subconscious came from other people. B, most of the programs, 70% or so of these programs, are negative, disempowering, and self-sabotaging. C, when I'm playing these programs, the reason I'm playing subconscious program is because my conscious mind is engaged in thought 95% of the day. I go, relevance? If the conscious mind is engaged in thought and I'm playing a subconscious program, then I am the one that does not observe my own behavior. Why? Because my observation is inside my head thinking. And so the automatic behavior that's playing is unobserved by myself. That means 95% of the day, we are not operating from the conscious mind's wishes and desires or what we want. 95% of the day, because we're in thought, we're operating from subconscious default. I go, relevance? Well, since most of those programs are negative and disempowering and self-sabotaging, and it's invisible, it says, and every day I get up and I say, today I'm going out for my wishes and desires. I'm going to find love. I'm going to find the best job I can. I'm going to find health. This is my intention, my wish, and my desire. And I go, we go out in the morning, full steam, and we come home at night, tail between our legs. It didn't happen today. And we look around and go, well, it's not me, because I went out with the vision for success. So I'm a victim. My life is not under my control, and I am not successful because of the universe is not helping me. That's the perception. And it turns out, oh my gosh, that's completely wrong. 95% of the day, you were shooting yourself in the foot with bad subconscious programs. And at the end of the day, you look at your bloody foot and go, who did that? And you did it yourself. So what's the new biology? New biology says that we are running from programs 95% of the time. Most of the programs are negative, disempowering, self-sabotaging. That when we do operate from consciousness, when we put our hands on the wheel and drive the vehicle with wishes and desires, what do you think we manifest? The answer is wonderful, because science has found out the one time people do this without even knowing they're doing this is when they fall in love. Because when they fall in love, they stay conscious. The reason is simple. The thing you've been looking for your whole life shows up in front of your face. Where are you going to let your mind wander now? This is what I want. This is why I'm here. I go, well, interesting. Because when you fall in love, that first period, the exciting period, I call the honeymoon. I say, think about it. Life was beautiful. No matter how crazy your life was, up till the day you meet this person, you fall in love. The next day, heaven on earth. Everything is beautiful. Life is great. Life is wonderful. You're so in love. And then during that love period, I say, how's life? You go, I love my life. Life is great. Life is wonderful. I go, well, the day before you met this person, it didn't seem to be that way. And now you meet this person, now your life has changed. What happened? And the answer is so simple. Science has recognized the moment we fall in love like that, we stay mindful, we stay conscious. Relevance? Then we keep our hands on the wheel with the conscious mind, driving for what? Wishes and desires. What is the honeymoon? Manifestation of wishes and desires. Why? Because that's what I'm operating from. And then I say, yeah, but unfortunately the honeymoon doesn't last. And then it goes back to normal life. I go, yeah, and there's a simple understanding, and it goes like this. How did you create the honeymoon? You stayed mindful. You stopped thinking. When you were thinking, you defaulted to the bad programs. When you stayed mindful, you operate from wishes and desires. I go, this is great, but guess what? Even if you're in love, life is still going on. There's a point where you got to handle things. You got a job, you got chores, you got things to take care of, you got to fix the car. I go, so what happens when this happens during the honeymoon? I say, I start thinking. I go, oh, I got to do this for the job. Oh, I have to take care of this chore. I go, consequence of thinking. I let go of control, and I go back to the default subconscious with the negative behaviors. And I go, and what is the consequence of that? You stop creating life from wishes and desires and return back to the programs that you had before you fell in love. And I go, why is this relevant to the honeymoon? Because your partner has never seen any of these negative behaviors since you fell in love. Why? Because you didn't default to the subconscious programs that you got from other people. I go, well, that's called the honeymoon. Both of you are creating wishes and desires. And then I go, then what? I start thinking. I say, what happens when I think? I automatically go to autopilot. I go back to subconscious control. I go, yeah, but those behaviors aren't mine. All of a sudden, I start spewing out these negative behaviors. And my partner looks at me and goes, who are you? Where did that come from? Here's the problem. I'm the one that didn't even see what I just said. Why? I was thinking, defaulted to the auto program. My conscious mind, engaged in thought, did not even see the behavior I just played, which is primarily negative. My partner sees it, accuses me of, hey, who are you? And I'm thinking in my mind, what's she talking about? Why? Because I'm the one who didn't even see what I just said. And therefore, I get very defensive. What are you talking about? Who? I'm not like that. And I go, so what's the consequence? You fall in love. You become mindful. You create from wishes and desires. You manifest heaven on earth. And then I say what? Life intrudes. And when life intrudes, you start thinking. And the moment you start thinking, you start defaulting, autopilot, subconscious. And those programs come out without you even seeing what you just said. And apparently, because they're so negative, offended the people in your area, your partner. And the honeymoon becomes compromises. New behaviors show up that were never part of the honeymoon, and not very good behaviors at that. And what is your partner going to do in response to all of a sudden you start playing your mother or your father, and you don't see it, and your partner sees it, so what's going to happen? Your partner is the one that has to say, do I accept that behavior in this relationship? And I then say, well, you know, most of the time we have this honeymoon, that's really cool. And then sometimes this ugly thing comes out, and I go, okay, sometimes he's like that, so I'll compromise. I say, yeah, but that's only one behavior. As more of the subconscious behaviors come out, there are more compromises. And the more compromises, the farther away you are from the honeymoon. And all of a sudden, life is just the way it used to be before.